Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, April 1st, 2025. Don't worry, I will not give no April Fool jokes. I'm not with it like that. So let's get into this recap. So we see Jada and Reef, and we already know this was not going to end well, but kudos finally for Jada finally telling the truth to Reef about what really happened between her and Sean. So, of course, Reef is upset because, again, he wanted to know. He asked her about it from the beginning, and she kept it from him for weeks. And she's like, you know what, I'm telling you now. So I'm saying it really, Jada. So she is taking accountability on one instance, and then at the same time, making excuses, which I was not here for. So, anyways, Rafe is saying, like, you didn't know me that well, didn't you? Because, like, you should know that I would not sleep with a stripper. I would not, like, dig up dirt on you and make you look bad. Like, I would not do those things to you. So she said, I didn't know at the time. Like, I tried to dig into why you're not really, yourself. I thought it was something with the coma aftermath. And he's saying, like, that was ruled out. So, like, you really didn't really do your dear justice in that. She's like, you didn't even treat Sammy like that. So I'm saying, Jada, Sammy was abused by Vinegar. So that was a different case. But anyways, Jada's saying, can I do something to make this up? So I said, no, I need some space. I said, didn't we have enough space already? So it's like, no, I need to really process where we're going. So there's a pause in the relationship, and I already expected this. So as predicted, I already knew that this was going to be a mess between Belle and EJ. So Belle comes in there telling that EJ that she wants him back and everything is all good with him, and she just wants him to admit to just doing what he did to Rafe. So he was playing it on, doing the charms, and, he was, getting all intimate, trying to get intimate with her, trying to rip off her dress. And she said, no, you need to come admit to what you did to Ray first so we can move on. So it's like, I did not do what I'm accused of, right into whatever it is that was stuck in her dress. So he figured it out. It didn't take him long to figure out that Belle may have a wiretap. So she said that I don't have it. So he's like, prove it, take off it just right here and now. So she couldn't. So he's like, listen, I know you're trying to do this because you want to get rid of me, but you can't get rid of me that easily. Like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm in your head. Even if I really do end up in jail, like, I am not going nowhere. I'm in your psyche. I'm in your soul. So she just ended up leaving. And I already knew this was going to be a mess. So Kristen pays Brady a visit, and not because of their daughter, but really just checking on him, which I think that was really sweet of her to do. And he's surprised too. But she said, I heard so many stories about John. He's going to outlive us all. Like, don't worry, he's going to be fine. So he thanks her for that, right? Because he needs that. He doesn't know what's going on with his father. So they talk about her mom disappearing, and because of EJ, because she did tell Brady that Rachel, her mom Rachel was missing because she was about to testify to EJ's crimes. However, EJ took care of the problem, right? So EJ saying, like, you have our daughter living under the same roof as EJ, especially after all he did. So she said, don't, I'm not worried about that. He's protected. EJ will not do anything to her. She is family to him, right? So anyways, he's not really empathetic towards her because of what she did to Ava, and then, him and Ava not being together. So Kristen's now made aware of that, and Kristen's sorry for that. So he's like, really? Are you really sorry? You wanted this from the beginning. So she said, wow, I really orchestrated our daughter kidnapping Ava and, causing a rift in your relationship or your latest fling and all that. So Brady caught himself and said, you're right. I'm sorry about us. So anyways, I'm just going through a lot with my father. So she said, don't worry, things will work out, and I just hope that he returns safe to you, right? So he said thank you, and then that's when she leaves, right? So back to John, well, back to Marlena, Steve. They found the man. They thought it was John. It's not John. It was some agent, and he, was barely clinging to life. And, basically, he told them, some information about where John could possibly be, not the exact location or anything, but, they're happy to hear from him. So Paul comes in. Paul thinks that it's actually the agent, it's actually John. And they said, no, it's not. It's some agent. So the agent is deceased at this moment, but Steve did tell Paul, what the agent told him. And, they're asking why Marlene is there, because at this point, Steve doesn't know why she's here. he didn't get a chance to ask her. So Paul and him asked why Marlene is there. So Marlene is there because she found Orpheus there, and now Andrew's there, looking over him before ICE agents can come to arrest them, right? So Paul goes over to there, and Marlena and Steve hang back. They look over files to see if they can find information, and she was worried about if Paul is okay with no backup. So Steve is saying he has been trained by the best in the business, John. So like he's fine, and Andrew's over there, they're good. So anyways, they look over information, something called Rosebud, seeing if they can find anything linking John location. At this point, I just want this to wrap up, right? So back to Orpheus holding a gun at Andrew, right? Because Andrew took his guard off for 1 second, telling ISA that he has Orpheus in custody and all that. So Orpheus, took the gun on him, holding him there. So he's standing there with the gun pointed at him, and he's saying, like, this would give me great pleasure to take out the director of the IC agency's son. They took my wife away. So this is just sweet revenge. So it's like, come on, you don't want to do this. So it's like, this is, great for me and blah, blah. So again, bluffing until, Paul comes over and shoots him, right? So that's when he was able to just, stop what he was doing, right? Obviously. So Andrew thanks Paul for saving him, and he said, "You've done it for me so many times, I had to return the favor." So Paul has Orpheus there with the gun on him. He's like, "Tell me what you know about my father, where he is, what is this Rosebud information?" So, Orpheus said he's not gonna tell him a doggone thing, and he knows that he's not gonna pull the trigger. He's like his own father, right? So Paul said, "You think so? So you're not gonna jeopardize your fiance career in the ISA." So Andrew said, "No, he's not. Like the ISA agents will come for you at some point to get you in for questioning, right?" So that was really ended with them. So Kristen comes home and she is angry at EJ for where her mother is, and she's asking him like, quit playing games, like, where's my mom, what have you done with her? So he's still playing nonchalant and coy to it all. And she said, you know what, one way or the other, I am going to get information, right? So she goes out to the entryway to check in on Rachel, or so we think, and she takes a gun out the handbag, and she's saying like, at this point, I'm gonna get my information regardless, right? So I'm just really excited about the storyline that is to come on the Who Shot EJ thing. I am excited about it because, there's so many people that are gunning for EJ. Literally, there's Johnny, there's Kate, there's Kristen. A lot of people are out for EJ at this point. So it's going to be exciting to see who is the one that takes Stefano's son down. But let's see what happens. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. I will see you guys tomorrow.